be shocked when the devil acts like the devil. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4 of the Torah portion, Matot Masei, Journeys or Tribes and Journeys. So let's continue in Bamidbar, Numbers chapter number 31, and we read along the storyline that the 12,000 men sent from Israel to attack Midian and Moab are returning, and they're bringing back not only the livestock and the goods that they have plundered, but they're also bringing in tow women and children. So as we read along verse 9 up through verse number 13, as they return to the camp of Israel, Moshe and Eleazar the high priest go out to meet them. And then we read in verse 14, "But Moshe was wroth with the officers of the army, with the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, who had come from the campaign. And Moshe said to them, Have you kept all the women alive? Look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel through the word of Balaam to trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of Yahweh." Verse 17, "And now kill every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known a man by lying with a man, you shall kill." Wow. This is very decisive. It had to be a horrific moment for even these men of war to draw out a weapon and slaughter women and male children. Why was that necessary? Well, let's look at this from a broader picture and a more foundational understanding. When it came to Moab and Midian, they formed a coalition. Now remember, Moab is the descendants of Lot, or Lot, as we might say. Midian is, they are cousins to Israel through Abraham. These are extended family members, and they have formed a coalition to destroy Israel and to keep them from their inheritance, to the extent that even the leadership among these two nations, they formed a government coalition and offered a government-sanctioned prostitution effort against Israel, employing tens of thousands of women, the leader's own daughters, involved in this, using them as cult prostitutes to a pagan idol in order to deceive the men of Israel into idolatry for the express purpose that they would then incur the wrath of Yah, which they did. And about 24,000 men died as a result of this. So they were successful. But that they would hate Israel so much that they would allow their daughters to defile themselves with their enemies, not out of a desire to build an amalgamating relationship, not out of love, not out of passion. These women were giving themselves as prostitutes as an act of hatred to the men of Israel. And the men of Israel were too blind in their lust to understand what was going on. It should not surprise us when the devil is the devil. So imagine then Moshe's fury when these same women are being brought into the camp of Israel, and he's looking at them and saying, "What are you thinking? What are you doing? These are the ones that's already cost you 24,000 of your brothers. And you're going to bring them into the camp and expect them to live among this? They've already demonstrated the extreme extent of their hatred toward us. There are times that you would see let's use a dog for an example. You have even if it's a pet, but the pet has acquired rabies. No matter how much affection that pet has demonstrated in the past, you cannot tolerate that. A rabid animal, a fox or a raccoon or some other animal. You might hate to have to put an animal down, but you must put them down because of the threat that they are. These were women that had demonstrated a loathing and hatred for Israel to the place, I will give myself to you in order that I can incur the wrath and the judgment of your own Elohim against you. And if the little boys were tolerated to come to age, they would find a way to grab a sword and take them out. This is destroying your enemy before your enemy destroys you. Now, this is an extreme step. I get that. And it's not any real physical realm application that you and I can make here outside of an actual setting of war. But in the spirit realm, you cannot tolerate demons. You cannot tolerate evil. In the book of Yochanan, John chapter number 8, if we can go there for a moment, Yeshua said this, you are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you wish to do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he has not stood in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. If you turn the page to Yochanan chapter 10, verse 10, the thief does not come except to steal and to slaughter and to destroy. I have come that you might have life, possess life, and that they might possess it above measure. When Hasatan appears, when evil appears, when temptation appears, it's not to make you better. The goal of Hasatan against us is to lie, to deceive, to ultimately destroy, even to murder us. One should not be surprised if you pick up a rattlesnake if it bites you. It is the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, in our westernized society, we have achieved a mindset that says, it can't hurt but so bad. There's nothing that I can't handle. It can't happen to me. If you play with evil, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be lied to. And you're going to be deceived. Why even bother with the conversation? Knowing that there are people, institutions, there are entertainments, there are alluring things, there are captivating things in this world. I don't have to go into any detail here. You know where I'm going. They will allure your heart, your mind, your imagination, your affection, your involvement. And they are deceptive. They are destructive. They have no intention of offering you any meaningful benefit. And they must not be tolerated to any degree. Now, even of the things that were neutral, possessions, garments, jewelry, other items, if they were metals, they were to be put through the fire for the purpose of purifying them. If they would not survive the fire, then they must be washed in water. The men who had been stained with the blood of their enemies had to be sprinkled on the third and the seventh day with the waters of purification. Why? To set it all apart. Even that which is common must be set apart so that the allure of the unclean or the common does not draw us. We are a set-apart people, and we must live as such. Think on these things. We'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.